Macmillan Audio presents I'll Be Right Back After This by Pat O'Brien. Read for you by the author.
Preface. Pat, there's this tape. On the morning of St. Patrick's Day, March 17, 2005, I woke up fully dressed, my shiny Louis Vuitton shoes still on my feet, 2 empty bottles of 1972 Silver Oak, the Cabernet, on my antique marble bedstand. I had no idea where I was, or, better yet, how I got there. At the bottom of the bed stood a cluster of people, all of them watching me grimly. I blinked at them in a daze. What was going on? Through the familiar fog of another red wine morning, I heard one of them speak as if from a mile away. Pat, there's this tape. I stared at him, a little bit of a daze, until his features came into focus. It was Ernie Dell, my loyal attorney, and gathered around him stood the president of CBS Paramount, the executive producer of my show, The Insider, and several other suits I had no desire to see in my bedroom early in the morning. Between them, they had enough personal problems to commit most of them to a rehab, to an asylum, or to long-term marriage counseling. But in this case, I was going somewhere, not them. Indeed, I was waking up to an intervention. Me, Pat O'Brien. The night before, I had gone to bed on top of the world, the host of a hit entertainment show, proud father of a loving son, with a trophy girlfriend, an ex-wife whom I still spoke with, and a 24-karat Hollywood lifestyle right down to the vintage sports cars in my garage. More than that, I was a household name, not just for my interviews with the biggest names in showbiz, but my years in sports, reporting and hosting the Olympics, the U.S. Open Tennis Championships, the NFL, including 4 Super Bowls, the NBA on CBS, the World Series, and the Final Four, you name it, and I'd been there either on the sidelines or sitting in the hallowed hosting chair. I was at that moment, indeed, the man, or so I was told over and over in arenas and stadiums and on red carpets all over the world. I had worked hard to get here. Within minutes, I had learned that all those years of hard work meant nothing. I went from hero to zero. One moment, the center of my own star-studded universe. The next, a blackout alcoholic in the midst of a sex scandal. I had left endless drunken voicemails with a woman I didn't even know, telling her I wanted to, and I'm quoting myself here, fuck her, and regrettably much more. Never mind that I didn't remember making the call, even know what a blackout was, but that was my famous voice, all right, like you're hearing right now. The voicemails had been released to the media, details on that later, and had gone viral, replayed endlessly, virtually everywhere, but notably on shows like Howard Stern's. Hence, the intervention, with a different twist. Not to save me, but more importantly to this group, to save the show. One of them, Terry Wood, the Paramount executive in charge of programming, was screaming, "We have to save the franchise! We have to save the franchise!" The problem was, although I was the franchise, nobody was asking me about saving me or my condition. There was no way out of this one. For the next few years, I ricocheted from rehab to rehab to rehab, my fall precipitous, painful, and certainly not pretty. And what a fall it was. You see, I was a guy who numbered among his friends and acquaintances Magic Johnson, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Jack Welch, Bill Clinton, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Kennedys, the Eagles, Oprah Winfrey, who actually suggested I write my memoir, Dr. J, Dr. Dre, Michael Jordan, Bill Walton, Andre Agassi, Heidi Klum, Michael J. Fox, Gregory Hines, Diddy, Puff Daddy, same guy, Justin Timberlake, and Will Chamberlain. My career had so far spanned more than 40 years, from the Vietnam War, 4 presidents, Watergate, and the Patty Hearst saga. The Richard J. Daley years in Chicago and the Chicago riots, lunches with Johnny Carson, and in a chapel alone with Pope John Paul II. Presidential conventions and inaugurations, and a history book of news stories. There were the indelible sports stories, such as the rivalry between Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan, and John McEnroe and Bjorn Borg. I had discussed life with Arthur Ashe and consoled Muhammad Ali after his final fight in the Bahamas. I partied with Vitas Gerulaitis and got drunk with Mickey Mantle, and on the other side was the first person to play golf with Mantle after he got sober. Then there were the stars of Hollywood.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?